Welcome back to even more Daily Rundown on Channel 7 with me, Dan Morfitt, and our guests this evening, Nina Gilligan and Stephen Lindsay. Our next story is about Italian politician Beppe Grillo. He has sort of welcomed in the new Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. Grillo, who is head of his own anti-establishment political party, the Five Star Movement, is also a comedian. At a gig on Saturday, he praised Bangladeshi Khan, even though the mayor's parents originally came from Pakistan, and went on to say it proved that you should never stop dreaming. So far, so tame. He added, "Now I want to see when he blows himself up in front of Westminster." Grillo was a big comic in the 80s and 90s, a sardonic stand-up, but he's now trying to prove himself as serious in Italian politics. So, is this funny?
No.
Good answer.
No is the correct answer. And it's not funny because he's getting a joke by saying Muslim, therefore terrorist.
Yeah, it's easy. It's punching down, isn't it?
Which is exactly the same as what we were talking about the exercise in the shopping centre.
Yeah. Well, I'm not convinced that is exactly the same. As I was saying earlier, I think that's different because it's a role play and they want particular statements to be made that make people feel as if it's real. We might come back to that in a minute. Okay. They are different for me because a stand-up comedian who just makes a joke about the Mayor of London and says, effectively, Muslim equals terrorist, totally different thing. Because that's not a role play.
Is there a context we may be missing?
That's true.
This was said in Italian. That's very true. And my Italian is...
No, mine's not great.
And that's the weird thing.
And also, because you could... I know, I don't like the phrase ironic racism, because racism's racism. But I wonder if there was he was trying to kind of say, this is what somebody might say.
That's possible.
Are you saying he's an Italian Ricky Gervais?
Possibly.
Because that's a horrific image. The weird thing is, he's a politician of the Five Star Movement, which is comical in itself.
Yes, a girl band.
Yes, yeah. But I remember when he first came to prominence and power in the elections in around 2009-10 against Berlusconi. And he came
another right-on man.
Right on, and bunga bunga. He was very anti-establishment. He is this well-known sardonic comic. It's basically a little bit like Ian Hislop stroke Alexei Sayle becoming a political member. The thing is, though, he's a politician and his party look as if they're about to win the mayor of Rome and his representative is going to win that. But he was doing this at a stand-up gig. It's like if Jeremy Corbyn was doing the Comedy Store on a Saturday.
I know. This is maybe a peculiarly Italian thing. I don't know, at the risk of sounding racist myself. Maybe this is an Italian thing.
Xenophobic, I think.
Xenophobic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, anytime.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, though. He has been known in the past, though, to black up.
Oh, God.
But he is this sort of... He's not left-wing.
I was going to say, I'd like to know his politics. I'd like to know kind of where he's shooting from.
He's an anti-politics politician.
Yeah. Right.
So he's playing a little bit, and not in terms of left-right, but a little bit of the Farage card. I know that's a right-wing thing.
Are you saying Farage is a comic?
No, I'm saying in terms of the politics, that Farage plays the anti-establishment thing, even although he's part
apparently
of it.
Farage is trying to distance himself from him now because they're buddies.
Oh, are they? Well, that maybe tells you where his politics are really then. But you know, the guy, listen, he's a stand-up. When he's doing his stand-up comedy, he can say whatever he likes. The question is, do most of us then think it's acceptable? And we answer that as we answer it. And he needs to think about the effect it might have on his political party, because he is a head of a political party. Again, that's his call. Maybe he actually thinks it won't have any effect with his electorate. Maybe he thinks it'll have a positive effect because they'll find it funny.
I think whatever you say in the context of a stand-up comedy gig, it's got to be taken in that context.
Something might have been lost in translation.
I believe that. I think if we're too careful in that space, we end up with really bland, generic comedy. I mean, there's some of my there's some of my stuff that I wouldn't want taken out of context.
That's good.
I'm not backing him up. I don't really know where he's coming from, but I also think it's like one of those. It's like a hair trigger, isn't it? He said something that might be deemed, and everyone's gone, oh, story.
Plus the fact, if we don't like it, or the people that go to the places he plays don't like it, they don't go and see him.
They don't have to laugh.
That's the ultimate the ultimate sort of check on the comedy aspect.
As a comic, does it sort of break down almost that illicit agreement between a punter and a comedian? That's what's said in this room is in this room. It goes no further.
And comedy is subversive by nature, isn't it? And I think John Cleese did an article about this recently, saying that we've got to be careful. If we get to the point where we can't mention certain words, then we're on, it may be the thin end of the wedge for comedians. Obviously, nobody wants people to be going out there spouting things that are against, common decency or values. But however,
if you do it in the realm of a comedy club, surely it's carte blanche. You can say whatever you like.
And I think that's right. You see, my view on it is it's this sort of free speech thing. But in the context of that debate, if you're doing stand-up, then you can say whatever you like in my book, unless you're inciting violence,
which is against the law.
Correct. If you break the law, then you've broken the law. End of.
Was he inciting violence, or was this Italian banter?
We don't know. We don't know.
From what we hear, he's not inciting violence. He's just made a bad joke, as I would call it.
And I think
it's up to him.
And also, when you're in the moment, I know this very well. In the moment of being a stand-up, you sometimes don't censor yourself, and you say things without thinking. And he may have been.
Because you're on. You're doing it.
It's you're in the moment.
We look forward to then the mayor of Rome elections. His party could win it, and then we'll see what.
See what he really thinks.
Right, our last story for this part of the show. Ousted Australian PM Tony Abbott has used Ukraine's Eurovision victory to take an apparent swipe at Russia. Russia was favoured to win Eurovision, but Ukraine's Jamala snatched a last-minute victory. Australia came second in Eurovision. Mr. Abbott said Australia should be prepared to accept the defeat, as Ukraine was the victim of a bully. Despite calls in Russia for a review on the win, on the night for large numbers of the Russian public voted actually for the Russian song, awarding it 10 points, while the Ukrainian public gave Russia's entry the maximum 12. Lovely togetherness. I've got to admit, I didn't watch Eurovision.
I was out.
I would never dream of watching Eurovision. But the reason I think this is interesting is because this is an ex-Australian Prime Minister, is it?
Yeah, Tony Abbott.
Having a go, using Eurovision to have a go at the Russians.
I think it's brilliant that suddenly Eurovision has become so political. It puts a completely different spin on what all the songs that won in the past, like Boom Banga Bang. What was that about?
It was a different era. but for decades now, though, for a long time now, not Boom Banga Bang time, whenever that was, but for a long time now, Eurovision is political. The voting in
that's why Terry Wogan got smashed every year.
And he had a ball. And good old Terry.
I don't think it's been as explicitly.
It's got more and more. I accept it.
Where you're having a go at the Russian Premier.
Yeah, but that's afterwards. The point is, as countries were voting, when you looked back every year for a long time now, there has been certain voting
Cyprus and Greece.
It's had nothing to do with the songs. So Eurovision's fine if you just treat it as it's a bunch of songs, and if you like popular music or a bit of a laugh, I'd watch it on that basis. But the voting thing is nonsense. It's political.
They enjoy it ironically, don't they?
But the thing is, with this year, and with any other year, you're not allowed to do a political song. However, the Ukrainian song
That's what I'm saying.
was very political. He was talking about Stalin and the gulags and the murder of the singer's grandmother by the Russians.
Yeah.
Eurovision just went, have it.
I don't think there was a great political meaning in Bucks Fizz, was there?
Well, you've got to speed it up
making your mind
slow it down.
Maybe there was more to that than we actually knew at the time.
Have you played it backwards?
That's true.
It's like the chipmunks gone wrong.
It is.
But that's the weird thing. It was a highly politically charged song. Don't forget, Russia and Ukraine are still at war.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think Tony Abbott is entitled to his opinion.
I think he was incredibly patronising.
Is he though? Because the fact is, he's the ex-Australian Prime Minister.
Yeah.
They have Prime Ministers depending on what day of the week it is over there at the moment. And he's only having a pop because we've suddenly allowed Australia into Eurovision, which still confuses and beguiles me anyway. He's gone, under the auspices of Eurovision, I can have a go at Vladimir. You're not an international statesman now. To be honest, when you're Australian Prime Minister, you weren't a big statesman then.
Absolutely, and it's such a patronising way of doing it as well. I think we should be fine about letting them win. It was like, how does Croatia feel about that?
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like we'll let you win because you're being bullied. It's so patronising.
But he's an Australian Prime Minister. On what realm of the world platform is that important?
Yeah.
No offence, Australians. Actually, no, massive offence. Politically, not very important.
But he is, I still say, he's entitled to his opinion. Whether it's a wise thing to say is a different kettle of fish. He's using it as an excuse to have a go at the Russians, which is partly, I think, maybe largely, because the Russian attack on a passenger plane
that had
over
a lot
Ukraine
of Australians.
had a lot of Australians on it. There is a specific reason why he's doing it. He's entitled to say it. He's just using Eurovision
It's quite a
as
childish
an excuse.
forum, I think.
But whether it's sensible, whether he should,
I think he's just trying to be the big Aussie bloke, isn't he?
Yeah.
exactly.
This is the man that wants to do political
It was quite
speech in
macho.
Speedos.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yes, which is wrongness on every level.
Oh,
The
yeah.
thing is, though, I can imagine Vladimir going back to his military leaders and going, "Tell me, where is Woomera on a map? I believe some nuclear bombs got dropped there. Maybe it's an idea again. I don't know. I don't want to see Russia and Australia kick off.
No,
because that would be the quickest war ever.
Wouldn't be good.
Right, that's all the news we can manage for now. We're tired and we're hot. Next on the Blue Banquette, a man called Magical Craig. Producer Emmy thought she'd booked Magic Mike and was ready with the baby oil. Sorry, Emmy. Plus, our guests will have their something to say too. Plenty more to come from us, so please stick with us on the Daily Rundown.